Welcome to my channel. I made 2 templates for bowls in MDF a while ago. Let's see if it works as I intended. I have some smaller pieces of maple, ash, mahogany, beech, plain, and purple heart lying around. They would be good as material for the bowls. I start by cutting some mahogany and purple heart into 1 centimeter thick pieces. I have decided that the pieces should be 4 centimeters wide, which gives a depth in the bowls of about 3 centimeters. For one bowl, I need 24 centimeter long pieces, and for the other 26 centimeter long pieces. I cut a number of pieces to 24 centimeters so that the total thickness of these will be 14 centimeters when I put them together. The pieces that remain when I cut off 24 centimeters will be approximately 26 centimeters because most of the pieces used are just over 50 centimeters. Time to do some puzzle work. I place the maple piece in the middle and build outwards on both sides so that the pattern is symmetrical. Time to glue the pieces together. I'll start with the 24 centimeter pieces. That was the first one. And now the pieces for the second bowl. Now the glue is dry. I use the plane to make the surface on both sides completely smooth. Before I use the router, I drill out as much material as possible. I start with a 20 millimeter drill in the 4 sharpest corners. Then I use a 35 millimeter drill to remove the rest of the material. Soon the material on the second bowl was also removed. There were no sharp corners here, so I could use the 35 millimeter drill bit right away. Finally, time to use the router. I start by setting the depth so that the ball bearing on the router bit is at the same height as the template. Then I adjust the depth so that all the drill marks disappear. Time for the second bowl. Here I repeat the exact same procedure as I did with the first bowl. Time to tackle the outside. I start by roughly cutting out the round shapes of the bowls, which means I cut a bit outside the lines I have drawn. To prevent the bowls from sliding on the sled when I cut, I have placed a piece of double-sided tape on the left side of the sled. I don't have a bandsaw to cut the inner curve with, and the jigsaw always leaves a jagged surface on the top, so I don't want to use jigsaw for this job. It's got to be the table saw anyway. Sometimes you have to be a little creative. Now all that's left is the sanding before the shape of the bowls is complete. I start by shaping the outside of the large rings with a disc sander until I get the right thickness of the walls. Next, I continue with the concave curves of the bowl with two rings. For these curves, I use the drill press with a sanding roller for rough shaping and a flap sander for fine grinding. I also use the flap disc to smooth the inside of the walls. Then I sand both the inside and outside of the bowls by hand. I round off the edges of the bowls and use the smallest size of router bit because the walls of the bowls are quite thin. I have decided to oil one of the bowls and varnish the other with epoxy varnish. I start with a bowl that only gets paraffin oil. I let the first layer dry, and then add another layer of oil so that the wood can absorb the oil properly. Time to paint the second bowl. After the first coat, I sand the bowl lightly and then apply a second coat. To get the best protection on the oil bowl, I also add a layer of beeswax after I have wiped off the excess oil. Now the bowls are completely finished. This is what they look like.